All right, boys, let's go.
Welcome back to this week's On the Water Northeast Offshore Report. I'm Jimmy Fee. I've got Anthony DeChichi. I've been missing for a couple weeks. I've been more of a guest this year. I haven't been around a lot.
You've always been close by, Jim. Right in sticker form.
I'm right in your heart.
Definitely.
And I want to start out this report talking about whether or not you're having a good offshore season is really all how you look at it, Cheech. It's how you qualify things. And
are you a fish box half full or a fish box half empty kind of guy, Jim?
My fish box is my metaphorical fish box in this case is half full because I have been very close to some good tuna fishing. Back in July, I was simply a day late to an epic jig bite. Again, on another trip, I was just a couple miles away from where guys hooked 20 fish on the jig. More recently, I drove down to New Jersey. My good buddy Jerry Sullivan, who we mentioned a lot on last year's offshore reports, because Jerry had he had a big black cloud over him last year. He books, he doesn't have a tune trip, so he'll take open boats and book charters with a lot of the captains down there.
That's right.
And
I think he caught it from your 2023 black cloud.
It's absolutely contagious. Yeah, I would.
Sliding over.
I think he was like a day late or a week late to all these amazing bites. But this year, it seemed like you couldn't miss in New Jersey. The yellowfin fishing on the midshore grounds has been so good for so long that you go out there and it's nothing to jig 5 to 6 yellowfin. They had a great popper bite earlier in the summer. Got them on jigs. Now we're seeing that chunk bite. You always see that in September. Starts in late summer, goes into the fall. Guys are going out with a few flats of butterfish, getting the yellowfin behind the boat. I've been hearing reports of guys hand feeding the yellowfin, so they're chumming enough that these fish are right behind the boat.
If you bothered to show up for an offshore report, Jimmy, you would know that I think last week or 2 weeks ago we had live footage of that from Will out of the South Shore of Long Island.
I was hoping to have live images of it with my own eyeballs, and well, let's just say that again, looking at the fish box half full, there are a lot of boats out there that had a really great day of yellowfin tuna fishing. A lot of those boats. So the bite had been kind of in the Texas Tower area, and there were a lot of them. There were good-sized ones. For whatever reason, on Sunday, that area dried up a little bit, and the boats that pivoted were rewarded. And so I got to see a lot of yellowfin tuna coming off boats at the marina. I saw wheelbarrows full of them.
Those are the worst tuna to see, Jim. Those are the worst ones to see.
Those are my least favorite tuna of the entire summer, was the ones coming into wheelbarrows, going up to the fish cleaning station. We went out Manasquan Inlet, and some guys had some pretty epic yellowfin fishing. We did not. So a tough trip for Jim and Jerry. But hope springs eternal, Cheech. So we'll see what there's plenty of good fish being caught. If they've left any yellowfin tuna in the ocean for us, hopefully I will get another crack at them before it's all she wrote for 2026, 2025. I don't even know what year it is. So that's the scoop on the Jersey bite. Guys are chunking with butterfish. They're casting peanut bunker, bringing them there. Sometimes having some live chum really fires them up. And there are some still being caught on poppers. There's some being caught on jigs and some caught on the chunk. So you've got that was amazing. There was a pretty big fleet. And I feel like this was maybe the first time I've been in a fleet that size and nobody was trolling. There's always the trolling,
it's my kind of fleet.
It is, but there's always those guys that kind of the trolling holdouts. You know what I mean? Where they're going to just
circle and
like, doesn't this look more fun? Like dropping the jigs and catching them. But if it's what you're familiar with, and it certainly catches fish. But to me, I would much rather do the light tackle thing. Back on, I've got a little bit on the canyons. We're going to hear way more about that from the Canyon Runner Report. But just from a couple people who I'm friendly with, the guys from Unreal Sport Fishing had an unreal canyon trip where they went out and were jigging Bigeye tuna. I think they said they had 3 on the jig, a couple on the popper, and a couple on the troll. So just so good. I know the Helen H has been out there. I know you got a more detailed report, but I talked to some people who were actually on the trip too. You talked to Tyler from there. Yep. I talked to some guys that were on the more recent trip. He said it's been kind of waxing and waning, the fishing. They had boat limits. It was really good. And then the storm came through, scrambled things a little bit. They're still finding fish every trip, but it is not as lights out. But if I know anything about Joe Huck, he's going to get back on them.
Yep.
They're going to find him. Him and Matt Salito, the head mate there, absolutely legendary fisherman and just great mate, dude. I love just seeing him out there. And
Yeah.
he's
the man.
Yeah, he is the man. So they'll get on them again. They've probably got another month worth of, at least.
Yeah.
I think maybe another 6 weeks worth of canyon trips. I know there's probably still some openings if you want to get on them.
Yeah, probably towards the end. They're pretty solid, but there's always, the wait list and all that good stuff. So.
And then there's the Voyager and the boats out of New Jersey. Well, Helen H, of course, sails from Hyannis in Massachusetts. The Francis fleet also runs canyon trips out of Rhode Island. You've got the Viking out of Montauk, Voyager, Gambler, and a whole fleet of boats out of New Jersey as well. So plenty of options. You can find an open spot, and the fishing's been good. Seems like the further south you go right now, the better the head boat fishing is, but that'll change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, is that all you got from down that way, Jim?
That's all I got. I've been kind of in recovery mode.
Sounds like you could have gotten a lot more just by walking around the slips of the marina that will wheelbarrowing tunas by your nose.
It looked like such a hassle fighting all those fish.
Yeah,
you come back with your tired arms. Like they can.
Maybe even a little bruise, like where you keep the rod butt.
I've got the bruise from under my arm. So I was using the Tesoro, Akuma Tesoro LDJ. I've been using that jigging all summer.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I left out. I caught 4 beautiful skipjack.
Oh.
And over the
beautiful blue iridescence on their backs. Isn't that stunning?
Yeah. I mean, I'm in it just for the aesthetics. So I don't want the fights or the meat. Like they are beautiful fish. I haven't caught a skipjack in forever. I caught 4 of them on the jig. Each one was that you would hook it and there'd be that half second, you're like, there he is. And then you get the tiny little tail beats, and you would get them to the boat so fast and just do these figure 8s at 60 miles an hour. What's that? Is that the violin? Or
no, that's the skipjack tails.
So that was it. I've caught a lot more yellowfin and bluefin over the last 5 years than I have skipjack, and there's that fish box half full again. But now, Cheech, for some
Too
real
bad you
reports.
weren't a little further offshore. You could have just put a hook in them and sent them back, and maybe caught a man in the blue suit or a big old Bigeye.
The Northeast Offshore Report is brought to you by Akuma Fishing Tackle. Whether you're battling big game offshore or casting from the shore, Akuma gear is built to perform when it matters most. Learn more at AkumaFishingUSA.com. Yeah,
so I want to start off with some newsworthy stuff coming out of Connecticut. New pending state record wahoo, 91 and a half pounds gutted, caught aboard the Laura Jean. It's not their first time gracing the report of the Northeast Offshore Report. It's a fishy boat. It's run by Michael Wadsworth, 4th-generation fisherman. They had a great weekend on the edge. Tons of yellows, a few swords, some tiles, and a 91.5-pound gutted wahoo.
Can we admit it's a little silly for a state without ocean coastline to have pelagic records like that?
We can, but you know what, Jim? Maybe we should try fishing out of Connecticut more often.
No, I know. But no, so if you leave from that port, that's the state of record for these catches. And 91-pound wahoo, I don't care what state you're in, that's enormous, man. I'm looking at that picture. You've got 3 guys with it across their laps,
and
there's room for like a 4th and a 5th.
In this report, you guys are seeing it probably as we're talking about it. But another cool little nugget from that trip, they had a sword follow out a side tracker right to the boat while they were trolling for bigeyes after dark.
That's cool.
Why don't we ever get these canyon trips, Jim?
Well, you got to go to the canyon. I go once every 5 years.
I go once every 3, I think. So it's terrible.
It's tough. I'm not trolling side trackers down the canal. So
I also got a report from Patrick Hergeth. He's with On Edge Sport Fishing. He's just a private boat that sails out of the New Bedford area, I think. He's buddies with Louis Kimmy, who got a nice wahoo earlier this season as well. They went and just kind of stuck their nose out there, didn't really go on a report. They were out in the dump, just south of the dump, inside the dump in the lanes, he said, right around 400 feet of water. They hit 69.5 degrees. And they decided to just throw a spread out and see what happens. They ended up getting the Mad Max they were pulling behind the boat got crushed. They had 2 Mad Max out and 2 chains. They got some nice yellowfin, and within the first 20 minutes. And then they went on kind of a fast troll and started picking some more up. So it kind of saved them a trip to the edge, and it was kind of a little closer to home. So
I wonder if you could chunk that out there. If you went out there with a few flats of butterfish, saw what you liked, were there any other boats around them, or did they...
They said they were the only boat out there. There was actually a ship anchored out there that was part of the whole windmill contingent that he was wondering if it was acting like a fad, because it was literally a giant, like almost a container ship on anchor in 400 feet of water that hadn't moved the entire time that they were there. So he was like not far from that. You could see it in the back of his photos. They ended up finishing the day out 8 for 9. They had 5 yellowfins, 3 penguins. They had 3 longfins, which was cool.
Oh, that was inshore? That was, wow.
Yeah. And he said I think they picked up a mahi too. But anyways, another blast from the past from Offshore Reports that had reached out and given me a report. So let's just jump right into to things. I'll start from the southerly side of things and move my way north. So I also talked to Captain Chris. He's out of the New London, Connecticut area. He's from Keeping It Real Sport Fishing. And he said the last several weeks they've just been kind of fun. Every weather window, heading to the edge. And they've been keeping an eye on what is well far east for him out of his port at Veach, that Big Eddy east of Veach. It's finally pushing west, and it has kind of settled or come across the backside of Atlantis, which makes sense because Atlantis and West Atlantis will come up as we move through the report, but he said we found more bait and fish to be on the cold side of the break, picked up a couple yellows as soon as we set in on the bank, and then started marking some big eyes down deep as we worked the wall of the canyon. Set up overnight as the sun started to set. Right away we had yellows in the slick, up high, feeding. I wonder if they would eat a popper. That would be a blast. And it was another bail job until the winds picked up. Then we moved and set out some sword baits. They went 0 for 1 on a sword, and they resumed looking for big eyes on the morning troll. They managed to raise the right one. It started acting erratic when we got it near the boat due to the presence of a massive tiger shark, which you will see video of that and a still photo of that. Pretty cool image in this report that he had sent me along with some fish pics. He said, overall, incredible fishing, taking home another limit of yellowfin up to 75 pounds, a longfin, and going 0 for 1 on sword and 0 for 3 on big eyes.
There's a surprising number of tiger sharks out in the canyons.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that a few years ago, I was out there with Larry Backman, and it was a banner yellowfin trip. We saw Greg Scomo out there, and I think he was with Damon Sacco. Mm-hmm. And they were out there to try to catch and tag tiger sharks. We actually handed over a couple of our yellowfin that we caught for them to tag them. You hear stories of these big sharks kind of haunting the party boats, where they will like just take take everything, and then you see the shark at the end of the trip, and it's just trailing 100 lines. Yeah, like a big old catfish.
Yeah, exactly. That would be. That would be a tough trip to be on. You're just continuously getting bit off. And
you got to hope your buddies, the sharks after your buddies tuna while you're fighting yours.
Speaking of party boat fishing, the Helen H, I reached out to Tyler Huckmeyer, reported it's been interesting. He said it started out real hot, but the consistency has waned a bit. They're seeing big eye every trip, though, with a 190-pound big eye on the jig, taking the top spot on the last trip. So how this went down, they hooked up on the troll, and then when the boat slowed, the jigs were deployed, and more people got tight with the biggest one coming on the jig.
Remember
loose change, Jimmy.
Picking up the loose change is what you call that. So you go as you're on the head boat. Helen H is one of the party boats that will do some trolling. When they hook up, they pull back the throttles. You run, you get your jig rod, and you send that down, and that is a great way to add a couple extra tuna to your count by the end of the trip.
One of my favorite lines. I'm out here looking for loose change, he said. The overnight bite, he said, went from nonstop to cold, or hot and cold. Some nights are a steady pick. Some nights are a little slower. So that if there's still some room, highly recommend those trips on the Helen H.
So that's exactly what John from his Instagram account is, Seasides and Slopes, and he said that they had that troll bite and that jig bite happened around 4 p.m. and then they were waiting for that midnight to dawn bite that always seems to happen, and that just never materialized for them. Yeah,
I know what that feels like, unfortunately. Moving on up. We know of a bite east of Chatham. There's some small wreck fish in the mix. They're eating stick baits on top, all your typical signs, birds, bait, whales. There's feeds going on out there as we speak. I just got some live sonar images from our good friend Kevin Gould, who is on that bite right now, and it looks loaded. I ran into Connor Doherty, old on-the-water intern.
Size large sport fishing.
Yeah. He's out of the South Shore area, Scituate or Cohasset, one of those two. He's pursuing a new venture on the insurance side of things. So he said it kind of feels funny being a weekend warrior all of a sudden. But he was telling me at the Newport Boat Show that he was really excited to get out over the weekend and try to get a giant on a commercial day. So they went out of Chatham, and they were in the Crab Ledge area. He said the giants out that way were chewing hard, especially in the early morning hours before sunrise. I got a video, I don't know, photos, whatever, I'll share in the thing from his trip. He said basically live mackerel was the key. He found them in about 130 feet just inside of Crab Ledge. The deck lights under the boat and underwater lights and deck lights brought the mackerel right to the back of the boat. It was real easy. He said most bites came on the down rod, either with a stick mac, sewn mackerel, or a live mac, but they also hooked one on a 40-foot floater. They drifted anywhere between 450 feet deep to as shallow as 280, and they were slightly northeast of the wreck. So he said they had 4 solid bites in total, 3 down deep, 1 up on the floater, and he said there was some nice fish in the mix. He ended up taking one to the truck, so it was awesome. I kind of knew he was going to catch a fish. He was like, "Yeah, I'm finally getting a chance to get out." I'm like, "Oh, you'll get one." So he sealed the deal, which was awesome to get a report from him. And as we kind of stay in that zone or on the giant side of things, I talked to Connor from Monahan's Marine. He said, out to the canyons, the night bite seems to be really strong in Atlantis to West Atlantis, and it's been all you want yellows. Again, the backside of that eddy, the same thing that Captain Chris from Keeping It Real reported. He said chunk and jig has been the ticket for that bite, with Bigeye mixed in to keep things interesting. Troll bite seems to have slowed a bit. He said his Bigeye strategy has always been to search when the sun is high, looking to mark where the concentration of Bigeyes are. Then when the sun starts to get lower, pound that area hard, as they'll typically come up when the sun starts to set or, rise even. But that's been his strategy. It's been a really strong Bigeye year, as we all know. He said giant fishing is picking up. He marked a bunch on Sunday on the southwest corner. Handful of bites all around him, no takers for him, but consistent action all around. He said he zigged when he should have zagged. He's kind of in his own head. He admitted it. He's like, dude, I'm on a little bit of a slippery slope with the giant fish. And he's like, I decided to go in to Fisherman's Ledge where the morning was lights out, and southwest corner fired off. So basically he left where it went off just before it went off, and he's like, every time I chase a bite it always kills me. So he's like, I gotta just get back to the basics and pick the spot that I'm confident in and ride it out across as long as you need to. And
once those guys, and he's one of them, where you have enough experience, you just have to trust your instincts.
Yeah.
You have to trust what you know about it rather than chasing the reports. It can work out, but it often ends just like that. Where
there's always that little bit of like, do I do this? You're always, and then sometimes you make that call and it pans out, and sometimes you make that call and it doesn't. And when you get in a little stretch of like, making the wrong call, you start to second guess in getting your head and stuff, and he seems to be going through that as we speak. But he'll get out there and get it done. He said southwest of Fishing Ledge has been really strong in the bay. He said Sunday morning he had customers tell him about 6 boats being tight on fish when they rolled up, and then he put out floater, and as soon as he could get the second rod starting to be, baited up, that rod went off, and all 7 boats were tight. First light, first thing in the morning. That's real close. Easy run if you're in that Cape Cod Bay area. So that's pretty awesome. I also talked to Joe from Fisherman's Outfitter, but I need to make a quick phone call right now.
Oh, okay. Don't mind us. So I hope a lot of you got your entries into the UVT Fishing Ultimate Tuna giveaway that we've been running over the last couple weeks. Quick refresher on the prizes. 4 tuna charters with top captains from New Jersey up to Massachusetts, tackle packages with UVT jigs and poppers, and a custom tuna jigging rod. There's going to be 8 lucky winners. Is that right?
Yep.
8 lucky winners, and we've selected those winners. And to announce one of the winners on this week's report, Cheech actually got, who was it, Cheech?
Sean Simon.
So here is that phone call when Sean found out he was winning a tuna fishing charter.
Hello?
Hello, who's this?
It's Cheech with On the Water. What's your name?
Sean.
Sean.
Simon. I was like, how is Cheech from On the Water calling me? I thought I was being punked, to be honest.
Awesome. Well, you were picked as one of the winners to win one of the tuna trips that UVT was giving away. I actually am recording the On the Water Northeast report for this week that will be out later today, and you are literally live on it right now.
Very nice. Cheech is the best.
Congratulations. Thanks for calling me back. That was awesome. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Cheech.
Congrats.
Take care.
Bye.
Appreciate it. All right, bye.
The Northeast Offshore Report is brought to you by SiriusXM Marine. Fish mapping is SiriusXM Marine's most comprehensive plan and is available on your boat's display and includes access on your phone or tablet via the fish mapping app. Serious anglers use every advantage available, and SiriusXM marks the spots where bait fish gather and game fish hunt. Learn more at SiriusXM.com/fish mapping. All right, so we have one winner confirmed on the UVT contest. That was pretty cool. I texted a bunch of people, and he asked me to prove that I was myself, which was not hard to do since we're literally live right now doing this thing. And I don't know what we got left for an offshore report before we kick it to the Canyon Runner crew.
One thing you were talking about was the size of some of these giants that people are encountering in Cape Cod Bay.
That's what he interrupted. The offshore, the report from Fisherman's Outfitter from Joe in Gloucester.
Just the biggest of the big giants. Joe mentioned that there are some giant tuna out there. The guys who've been fishing for their lifetime are the biggest they've seen. He said 120 inches is not out of the question for the size of the fish that guys have been encountering. Now, it sounds like there's been a lot of heartbreak, long fights. We're talking 3, 4, I think he mentioned a 7-hour fight where at the end of it the guys lost the fish. So, I mean, it's tough to go anywhere up from a 130. I don't know what
It's crazy.
I don't know how you beef up from
Hand
there.
line?
Yeah, I guess you could do the strap.
The old school? Yeah, he said Middle Bank has been super consistent. The fish have been big and mean. He said Southern Jeffries has also had fish, but there's not a lot of bait up there. There's a ton of bait on the bank, though. And he said he's been hearing about the same kind of big, mean fish in Cape Cod Bay that Connor from Monaghan's had mentioned. And he said some of these fish are in the 120-inch plus caliber, which is insane. So all good stuff there. We'll round this out before we kick it off to the Canyon Runner crew with Seacoast, New Hampshire Sport Fishing. Captain Bob, he said, not much of a change in the picture since last week. Northeast corner of Scantum, still producing some stud giants. Blue Shark's still tough, but with water temps dropping, we hope they may push out. Perhaps replaced by threshers as it's that time of year. Out on Jeffries, from the Fingers in the north through central area, Curl Cove, Prong, down to Blue Hill, giants have been taken, but like Scantum, it's more of a pick than a full-on bite. He said no one seems to be fishing Boone Island off York just yet, although in past years, September into October had been prime there. So keep an eye on that area. A plus, there's very few blue sharks up that way. He said, we're going to give it a whirl as soon as the boat is fishable again. Someone backed into one of the Suzukis while on trailer late last week, bending a blade in each of the counter-rotating props. That's the joys of owning a boat. He said the good folks at H&H Propeller are turning him around quick so he can get back on the water. And he said in all areas, mackerel are the predominant bait. The whiting have slowed, as have haddock, and herring are pretty scarce. Some guys are trimming the tail fin on mackerel, trying to make them an easier target for the oversized fish that we have this season. So there's a lot of big fish throughout the bay, throughout the bank, all the way north to Maine. Have you ever fished up in Maine, Jim, for tuna?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty cool up there. It's very close. A lot of it's very close by. It's kind of like the bay deal that we have in here, but
I'd
it's
love to.
different baits. A lot of times you get a lot of squid and all that good stuff. So
Without further ado, man, let's send this over to the Canyon Runner crew. They're going to give you the details on where, what, and how everybody was catching fish from Mitchell grounds to the canyons over the last week.
Absolutely.
And we'll catch up with you next week.
A big congrats to Sean Simon for being the first confirmed winner of the UVT contest live during this report. But take it away, Canyon Runner. The Offshore Report is also brought to you by Canyon Runner, who will provide a very detailed synopsis of the fishing throughout our coverage area. The Canyon Runner sport fishing team is here to help you catch fish. They offer coaching and concierge services, seminars, and the Canyon Runner map, powered by VM, which will exponentially help increase your catches inshore, midshore, and out in the canyons. The report they provide gives you a sampling of how the Canyon Runner map works, which serves as your co-captain, providing all the fish catching and safety intel, including a built-in warning system and more. It gives you the ability to track over 600 member boats and 24 pro staffers in real time. Check them out at www.canyonrunner.com. And if you want to take the Canyon Runner map for a quick test ride, you can download the CR Map app from your app store and use it free of charge for 2 weeks. Your free access will be limited to boats within 10 miles of land, but it'll give you access to all the features to decide for yourself if it is right for you.
All right, Jimmy and Cheech, welcome to the middle of September and another podcast. We're going to go and take a look at the Offshore Report from the week ending September 14th. Here's a temperature shot we're going to dig into right now, but let's touch on the weather first and see what's coming up for this week. What we got, as always, we zoom out. 3 big weather features on here. We've got a high to the north, which we've seen all year, these highs over Canada and these lows to the south of us. And then we've got a high over the United States, which is it's pretty exciting because it's going to give us some good fishing. Again, we just had a great 3.5 days of good weather and good fishing for most. We got Tuesday, Wednesday of this week blown out, but as you look and watch and we move this across, that low looks almost like a subtropical, tropical low. It's going to stay together. It's got a circular rotation motion, but by Thursday, kind of dies out. And if we zoom in now, which we will, it's going to see it's actually really not that much wind here. The low's still here, which you got to be very careful about after you get past September 15th. For 40 years that we were chartering, 75% of our canyon overnighter trips were canceled after September 15th. The weather turns like a dime. You'll see a forecast where it's going to be 8 to 10, and all of a sudden it's 20 out of nowhere. But it does look like that low is just going to constantly weaken. We're going to have some offshore winds, and it looks like we're going to have a good Thursday, Friday. Really don't like to look that far in advance at all, but we're definitely out and regrouping for Tuesday and Wednesday this week and back at it hopefully Thursday, Friday. We're regrouping because we just had 2 of the busiest days of the year, I would say. Saturday and Sunday were just mobbed with boats out there. You could see this is only Friday, Saturday, Sunday's track lines. When we come up here, we're seeing folks stay close up in the Cape, but if you look out here and you look at where folks are going, this picture again is from Saturday. You can see what the eddy's doing. You can see what happened. It actually pulled off the bank a little bit instead of moving like northwest, and 2 eddies that we had this year did this. They're not pushing all the way up in here. They're pushing west and now southwest. This eddy has such strong circular rotation that it pulled in all this cold water from up here. It wrapped it completely around. And if you look closely, this is all colder. Look at the temperature, 68, 68, 67, 68. Slide in here, it's 72, 71. This is the cold water from up here. Not a lot of good action in it. If you could see, though, there's a finger of the warm water. All this stuff is a little warmer. And what the eddy's doing, it's rotating around. It's pulling in some stuff from down here. This is the warmest water that there is on the chart. It's going to pull this in and wrap it around. And the hope is it keeps doing this. Here's your Gulf Stream right here. Wraps this in and it's going to push water up into the Hudson, the Zigzag, the Dip, Block. Everyone who's been able to reach our canyons out here has had the summer of a lifetime with the way the fishing is. It's still that good. We still had boats with 20, 30, 40 yellowfin in here. Multiple Bigeyes. Boats, a lot of boats with more than 5 Bigeyes on these trips. Not a lot of swords, which was interesting. But if you got on the edge and you worked it and you work the night bite as well, and it was jigging at night. You set up the chunk, but the jigs caught most. Trolling, a dawn and dusk bite for big eyes, you pick during the day, but you could tell you needed to be in the right position. There was just nothing really going on up in here. We did have someone work, two boats actually worked up in 400 up in here. You could see, and the lanes are right up in here. The lanes are up here just south of the lanes. We had a couple boats fish up in this way, caught yellowfin, caught some longfin in there. But in short of that, there's nothing going on. There is a giant tuna bite up off Rhode Island in tight, like it's always, like seems like it's every year you have the Point Judith bite. There was, and we're not going to see a lot of track lines on here, but there was a tournament out here east of Cape Cod, the Regal Sword. Some of the best fishing of the year. I think in the tournament they had 50 some odd boats, and somewhere in the neighborhood of like, no, I'm sorry, 90 boats and 50 bluefins, 50 giants caught in 2 days. Just unbelievable fishing. Our pro staff out of Gloucester have been fishing up in here on Stellwagen. There's been fish in the bay. There's been fish off Boston Harbor. But all season long, the best of the giant fishing has really been the Regal Sword. And once again, it proved that towards the middle of the end of next week. Now, as we've been coming to the west, we've been looking for, quote unquote, the dragger bite to start. And this isn't about real water temperature. This is about just where the squid boats are. Here's the Coimbra. Here's the Maiden Creek. Multiple days in a row now, you can see the fleet fishing up here. There's commercial draggers. There's no boats out right now that we can pull the AIS information. But if I talk you to the Marines traffic website, the squid draggers are working in here. There's about 5 or 6 of them as of today and yesterday. Today they didn't hold fish. Yesterday they did. The day before they did. There's a bunch of yellowfins up in this way. And then I think it's obvious. Here's the Bacardi. Here's the tower. It's been blacked out by the amount of boats in here. Now the numbers are coming. Maybe there was 150 boats there Saturday, 125 boats there Sunday, basically in this area. And you know what that does? It does it to everything. The crowd kills the bite. Most of those boats, particularly on Sunday, didn't even get a bite. But the fish are there. On Monday, there was like 15 boats there, and half of those boats might have got double digits, even in some rough weather. It got rough and they all had to come home by noon. The fish are there. Now, are they going to stay there till Thursday? Who knows? We're starting to see, and I'll take off the water temperature. Here's the Hudson. We're finally starting to see some people come into the Hudson. We've had a bigeye bite in 100 square, a handful of fish caught. We've had yellowfins at the elbows. We've had yellowfins chunked during the night. One party boat had just an unbelievably great yellowfin chunk bite down here in the 100 square. There's fish here to be caught. There's a handful of fish in the northern end of the triples as well. As for tuna, it pretty much stops there. There's a few random stuff going inside in here. If I put on our observations, here's the Long Island buoy. The HA buoy, some call it the weather buoy. There's been some bluefins in here. You could see there's been some activity, but we're talking like one fish every other day. You're going to see that now, Rockaway Reef. You're going to see that in the lanes off of New Jersey. And each day and each week, it's going to get better and better. I'm sure we're going to see a great October, November, December again. The signs are all there. But unfortunately, as you get south of this just mess of boats, you can see some of the boats who want tuna are coming in this direction. These boats are all looking for marlin, and they're doing decent enough. And it's actually been arguably one of the better marlin seasons. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. You can see it's covered by clouds. I don't know if I can get a better picture, but here's a Friday picture. So this was the remnants of an eddy that slid down enough to get interaction with the Gulf Stream and has brought in some really pretty water. I can go to the chlorophyll shot and we could actually see that's the blue, that's the core of that eddy, and it's sucking in all nice blue water in here. Overlay the fathom lines and we can see where the boat's been fishing. The interesting thing is, look, three weeks ago, early August, talking marlin, you're seeing boats out in 1,400, 1,200, 1,000 fathoms. This is the 500 fathom line. Look at it now. All these boats are marlin fishing. They're all just hanging right on the 100 fathom line. And then there's some marlin being caught in 50 fathoms. And there's still a ton of mahis, and they're putting together really nice trips. You're still getting the occasional boat with double digits, a lot of boat with 3s and 4s and 5s on basically 12-hour trips. It's good. What's not good and what's been disappointing so far is the daytime sorting. It's actually been flat out terrible. Usually this is the height area that's the height of it. It's the time of year where it should be good. It just hasn't happened yet. There really are no tunas down here. There was, I don't want to say no, there was like 2 days in a row here in the Baltimore, right in this general area. There was maybe 2 yellowfins caught one day, 5 caught another. But when you're talking about some of the best tuna fishing around, and you're happy that 2 or 3 yellowfins were caught, you're happy because they're like the first tuna caught in over a month. But it's going to happen. Last year, really the first week of October, we saw them come up in here into the teacup, the hot dog. You have boats looking in here. They're mostly looking for wahoos, and they're starting to pick a wahoo a trip, or at least get a bite a trip. Again, nothing great, but that's what we got going on down here. I'm going to swing down the line a little bit. We didn't have the weather for our North Carolina boats to fish in this date range, the 12th and the 14th, but the marlin are here. If I go back a few days when they didn't have the east wind, they are doing right where this blue water comes down, right up in here, they're fishing, and that's kind of the leading edge of the whites. And we're just going to see these whites eventually slide down this way. But, we got several more weeks to go. At least till the end of October, we're going to have tunas within range of most of the folks on this chart right now. And we look forward to talking to you guys again next week. Thanks a ton. Bye.